a lot of thought to my philosophical contribution here on YouTube, and I think a lot about what I say and what the other philosophers say here on YouTube and elsewhere, all the things I've read and the people I encounter. I try to put a little thought into just what people say, even if they're not real familiar with philosophy. Because, philosophy is about the wisdom of life, and not everybody is a philosopher. However, there's way more people that aren't than are. So I like to see what works and doesn't work. I try to keep in mind the context of things that are said and the context of the people that I'm communicating with. Of course, that's seemingly impossible as we cannot really experience someone else's experience. I try to do the best I can in these instances. Now, I had an episode, several months ago that escalated into a violent situation. Now, many of you who know me know that I'm a pacifist. And I'm not going to get into the details of what went down, just that because I guess I was worried about the possible outcome, threatened by like a gang of teenagers. Now, no violence came out of it, which was good. I found myself in a situation where it could have become violent. Not only could it have become violent, but, they might have kicked the shit out of me, or I might have ended some of their lives. And it made me really take a step back and reevaluate things philosophically. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and be armchair philosophers, but I'm really concerned with the real life aspect of philosophy. Not just wisdoms and things like this, or out there conceptual ideas, which is all great and good, but I'm talking about practicing what you do, preaching what you do, not practicing what you preach because people say a bunch of crap that they don't live. I'm talking about what you do in reality, not just what your ideas are, but when the extreme is in your face and you're doing something, are you real in touch and in tune with those things? Like, for example, I talked to my friend Largo64 about capital punishment. I'm against capital punishment, and I don't think the state should be killing people. However, there are some, evil bastards out there. People who will, rape your wife and kill your kids and this kind of stuff. There's, mad bombers and terrorists. And I'm not just talking about Islam. There's American terrorists as well. All societies and cultures have these crazy people. And we see as the population increases in these highly civilized areas that there's all kinds of whacked out crazy serial killers, child molesters, pedophiles, just every bad thing you can think of. As time progresses, more and more bad stuff happens by these bad people. So I give a lot of thought as to punishment and justice. Not that I really believe that there is any justice. I mean, if somebody kills somebody, killing the killer is not going to bring the victim back. Plus, what if somebody kills multiple people? Killing that person isn't going to bring multiple people back. And since I believe that when you die, you die, getting killed is kind of evading the punishment altogether. I mean, it sucks you lose your life, but we're all going to lose our life. So punishment in jail, sucks. That would definitely be a way better punishment than just letting them have a get out of jail free card. Plus, when it comes to jail, I'm also concerned with a couple other things like innocent people being put in jail and the punishment not necessarily fitting the crime. I think there's a lot of people in jail who don't deserve to be in jail. Even if they are guilty of the things that they might have done, maybe the laws are wrong. Maybe the punishment is too stiff concerning different things. Like drug charges or even sex charges. The whole sexual predator thing is the witch hunt of the day. Who is a sexual offender? And, if somebody is a rapist or a child molester, those cases are obvious. But when it's like an 18-year-old having sex with somebody who's underage in that division line between 17 and 18 or even 16 and 19, I mean, there's this big gray area. I mean, after all, somebody who's 20 could marry somebody who's 40. That's a 20-year difference, and 20-year-old's not really that much older than, a 17-year-old. Not that much difference. Yet the person who does that, who's accused of statutory rape or whatever, could be a sex offender for the rest of his life. Can never live near a park, not going to have certain jobs, have to be on probation, report where they live. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And I'm thinking, there's a lot of injustice when it comes to this. The people who are guilty of these horrible crimes shouldn't be grouped together with these people of these lesser crimes. And the same as with the drug charges. You get people thrown in jail over like an ounce of pot, same as person getting caught with, 50 kilos of cocaine and machine guns. Now, obviously one's going to get longer time in jail than the other. However, both are going to have a drug offense on their record the rest of their life. I just think there's a lot of injustice when it comes to actuality and punishment. Probably not just in America, probably everywhere. I'm not real familiar with the prison codes in other countries. And then when it comes to violence, you have these specific instances where there's like armed robberies or premeditated killings and spousal abuse and child abuse. There's just different levels of violence. I'm not saying that any violence is acceptable. I'm just saying that there needs to be more of a separation between these things. There's already too many laws, and the laws are all screwed up. And when I think about these things, I don't just think about them in society today. I'm an anarchist, so I think about what things would be like if there were no governments inflicting their punishments on people. Would people just blow each other away when things didn't go right? I think about the Old West. There was kind of an anarchy in the Old West. How did they take care of that things? And there was people killing other people, but, people didn't do things unless they knew they were taking a chance back in the day. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling on about things now. I'm concerned about real-life situations and how you would handle yourself in a real-life situation. If you were suddenly put into a violent situation, it's one thing to defend yourself. It might be another thing to go into a situation ready for violence. I mean, after all, if you look at the cops, every situation that they go into, they've got guns and stuff. Now, they don't pull their guns out in every instance. I'm sure they probably rarely do, except in high crime areas. The point is that they enter a situation with weapons on them. Is it wrong for the everyday citizen to enter daily situations packing heat? So I don't have an ultimate question for you. I just am interested in your thoughts on all these ideas. The bottom line is, are we just sitting here talking about it, or are we living it? You got to live the things that you're talking about, otherwise you're full of shit. Peace.